Take us to that country music festival that's up there on the... Great. Yeah. I'm going to the VML, but I guess I'll be driving up there a little. Yeah, that's right. If you didn't know, we did. We crushed them. Crushed it. They hung us out to dry, Sherman. Dr. Miller and I were on our own. We kept disappearing.
Good evening. We call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please. Here. Here.
Here.
Vice Mayor Miller.
Here.
Mr. Saunders.
Here.
Mr. Vogler.
Here.
Mr. Wood.
See all of us with these shirts on tonight. We'd like to pause and ask our Deputy City Manager to tell you, those of you who are viewing us by Facebook and those who are in the chamber, you see many of us with the shirts on tonight, and unfortunately, we are saddened by the passing of one of our colleagues, Norma Brower. So I'm going to yield to Earl, our Deputy City Manager, and then we're going to have the invocation by Dr. Gary Miller. Before the invocation, after Earl, we're going to have a moment of silence for Norma Brower, but I now yield to Earl.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to be able to just say a word tonight about my colleague. I don't say my deceased or fallen colleague. I just say my colleague, because that's what she will always be. Norma and I met when I came to work 11 years ago, and she was already on the roll. And I shall never forget the many conversations we had after 5 o'clock where we developed and formed and solidified our friendship. And I do say friend. You have a lot of acquaintances in life, but you have very few friends. The word tells us in Proverbs 27:6, faithful is the wound of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Norma was quiet, reserved, behind the scenes, but if you were her friend, she would take the license to bring you the truth. And there were many days after 5 o'clock when you've heard that song by the OJs, The Backstabber. Norma would not stab you in your back, but she would cut you in your heart. And there were many times she came in my office and she said, Earl, you shouldn't have said that, or you shouldn't have done that. And she did it in love. and it made me a better person. And that's what relationships and friendships are all about. Last but not least, Mr. Mayor, she was kind. The kindest person you would ever meet. And I pulled this out of my file because something I kind of keep around the office. It said kindness. Loaning someone your strength instead of reminding them of their weakness. And she oftentimes would come into a situation, and instead of pointing fingers and putting people across the knee and spanking them, she would say, "Come on, this is what we're gonna do." She was focused on the mission of the job and helping people. Now, later on, she might cut you real good, but she would stay focused on the mission and getting the job done. Again, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for the opportunity to say a word on behalf of my friend.
I think I want to ask everyone to stand. We'll have a moment of silence for Norma, and then we have an invocation by Dr. Gary Miller.
Norma Brower, 1962 to 2021. Let us pray. Dear Lord, for over 13 and a half years, Norma Brower worked for the city of Danville, and more importantly, for the citizens of Danville. She was the go-to person for residents who wanted help with housing, community development. She was loved by all her coworkers, her family, friends. We pray for Norma and her family. We pray for all our city workers who devote years of their life working for this city, who give themselves selfishly to make Danville a better place to live and play. And Lord, if you ever have any housing issues up there, check with Norma. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Communications from visitors. Anyone who would like to speak on any item that's not on the agenda may come forward this time. Please state your name and your address for the record. Good evening, sir.
Thank you for allowing us to come before you. Some of our students in our apprenticeship training program that are Danville residents that have recently started training in association. What was going on and how the program had been progressing. Coming to Danville, I did not expect such a wide variety of interests. We were prepared to financially train about 10 to 12 folks. Grace of God, our first enrollment class is well over 18. We have an additional 18 waiting to be enrolled into the apprenticeship program. If you ever come up West Main Street, you will see a project we're currently working on, the Fitzgerald Apartments. They are also out there. Excuse me one moment. Out there learning to operate lifts. At the end of this training, these trainings will be well into the 24, 25, 26,000 hours. Well as to all of the businesses that are coming to Danville. Opportunity to show you the progress, what has happened in just a short period of time, and the interest. We have women, we have folks who have been incarcerated, we have low-income people, and here they are giving a step up now. How are we doing this? When I came to Danville, I came with projects, and I came with some financing. We haven't asked anybody for anything. We've done it the best way we can. But at this point in time, with such an abundance of people who wants to be part of the program, it's a little burdensome on my company to be able to handle the mass amount of calls and registrations that we get. Can I please remind you that this is just not a program that is not certified by the state in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Our program is certified. Our company is DBE certified. Our company is SWAM certified in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So I submitted a proposal not long ago to the city of Danville. I have not heard back on that proposal as of yet. And I'm hoping that someone will take an opportunity to review the proposal and at least comment back to us what and if the city could assist us. These young men and women, in just a short period of time, they can tell you what they've learned. They can tell you what caulking and puttying is, how to prep a wall. They can tell you how to run a 60-foot boom lift and get on one in such a short period of time. And they're progressing very, very well. We're excited. I'm excited about the next 25 that want to join the program into a registered, certified apprenticeship program. So I just want to thank you for an opportunity. We always bring you gifts when we come. So we brought you some SPM hats as a reminder of our firm, what we're doing, how we're doing it, and where we're doing it. Again, I can't emphasize enough. I came here expecting to train 10 out of my own pocket with no assistance. At this point in time, we've had a grand opening. Some of you have been there and seen it, seen what we have done. We've invested in about a $60,000 van to transport folks. We pay these folks $10 an hour out of my pocket with no grants, no assistance, none. And I was expecting to pay 10. Now I have 18 to 20 with another 25 waiting. I would want everyone to have an opportunity to participate in this grand program.
Okay, thank you so much. But Councilman, some questions for you. Councilman Campbell.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your presentation. What are you asking the city to do?
I'm asking the city, thank you, Councilman Campbell. I am asking the city to consider my proposal that was submitted. We need about $500,000 to start off with in this program. And this will allow us to take care of a lot of the things that we run into, far as there are so many social issues that we have to deal with to get them to where we need to get them to. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Again, we were there at your grand opening. It was a great grand opening. To all of those participants who were here, thank you so much for what you're doing. I share with you the city manager was on vacation. I spoke with the city manager and deputy city manager, and they're actually looking into you, but he just got back. So they're going to be contacting you and sitting down with you and seeing exactly what role, if any role, the city can play in it. So you'll be expecting a call. Did I say that correctly? Very good. So thank you all again for what you're doing. It's really exciting, and we're just glad to have you home. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
We're still in communications from visitors. Anyone else would like to speak on any item that's not on the agenda may come forward at this time. We're still in communications. Anyone who would like to speak on any item that's not on the agenda may come forward at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record. And good evening to you, ma'am.
Mayor Jones, Vice Mayor Miller, City Council members. First of all, I want to thank you for giving us all the opportunity to come and speak. I'm here because I have a true concern that I have been here to the police department. I have called and everything. So my concern is there's a lot of activity on my street. I live on a small dead-end street in North Danville, and there are exactly 7 houses on this street, and my family members occupy 4 of them. The first 2 weeks of every month, there is so much drug activity up and down my street. I drive the city bus. I leave out of my house at 3 a.m. And when I leave, my neighbor, he works from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So that leaves my 81-year-old father down at the bottom of the hill by himself with all that drug activity going on. When I tell you I'm uneasy every day, I have found rifle shells in my yard. The people, they come down. I have spoken with my neighbor. And I have, as I said, I've come and they say when you see something, say something. Well, I've been seeing and I've been saying, but it is ongoing. When I leave out in the morning, you know, they're already up. Oh, that's Jackie. Who else is it at 3 o'clock in the morning? You know, and I don't feel comfortable having to look over my shoulder so that I can go to work. I live by myself. I live next door to my dad. But I'm not only looking out for myself, I'm looking out for him. I'm looking out for my cousin that lives down the street that has a 2-year-old child. I'm looking out for the other elders that live on the street. And I don't know what else to do at this point. So I'm here asking for help, for someone to do something. And as the gentleman mentioned, we have a lot of good things coming to Danville, and I think we really need to clean it up before they get here. And we've been in that, my dad has been in his house since 1977, and he's still there. And I love Danville. I moved back home from Atlanta to be here in Danville. And I just want to go through the proper channels and do what I'm supposed to do before I do what I have to do. And I just need your help.
Well, thank you so much, first of all, for being here tonight. The deputy city manager and the city manager is going to give you their card. In just a moment, deputy city manager and the city manager is going to give you their card. And I ask that they'll contact you, sit down with you, and we'll take it from there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. We're still in communications. Anyone else would like to speak on any item that's not on the agenda may come forward at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, everyone. My name is Stephen Gould with Burns Gould Law. We are the local representative for Caesars Entertainment, and I want to share with the city an opportunity later this month for members of the public to provide input on the design of the Caesars Virginia Resort. The opportunity will take place Monday, August 23rd at 5:30 p.m. at the old Dan River Welfare Building, which is located at 917 West Main Street. Parking will be available on the street and behind the building. Representatives from Caesars Entertainment will be in town that evening to provide some information on design concepts, color palettes, materials preferences, things like that related to the design of the project, and also to answer questions from the community and provide any feedback that they can. I do want to stress that what will be presented that evening will be limited to those topics, and there won't be full rendering shared at that time, so don't want folks to be disappointed if they're coming and hoping to see kind of the complete design. We want to make sure that we get that input from the community before the design is finalized and ready to be shared. We are working with the Office of Economic Development to make sure that we promote the opportunity fully around the community. So folks should be expecting to see and hear more information about the session in the coming weeks, and we hope to have a live stream available for those who are not able to attend in person. Happy to answer any questions.
Could you please give the date, the address, and the time again, please?
Yes, sir. It's going to be Monday, August the 23rd at 5:30 p.m. at the old Dan River Mills Welfare Building, which is at 917 West Main Street.
Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Of course, we had sessions with them recently, and I just wanted to state that some of the wishes that I have been requesting personally from the get-go, that they're really trying to make the opportunities available for all areas of the community. And I think that is so important, that we have prosperity here now, and there's great prosperity that is coming. And it's important to me from day one. Number one, I want to make this clear. When I first heard about this, it was my understanding that the funds that would be raised to go to the capitalization for the schools. And during the process of the referendum, and of course with the city manager and the bonds that we have, that the best way of doing this for our bond rating to increase, that we'll go in a different way in reference to capitalization of our schools, but it'll make us sound and make us a solid city. But I am concerned because I had the understanding from day one that we would go this way, but it would be things that be done for our school system, for the betterment of our community, for a good quality of life. And I'm expecting that we would make as transparent as possible, that not only jobs but contracts would be shared to people who are interested, and certification will go forward. Personally, I am looking forward to giving those statistics out as they go forward. I will let the community know of their progress. And Mr. Mayor, if I can take one more second, please, if you don't mind. I'm not playing. And I don't mind telling the public, because sometimes I felt like I have been abused. And the reasons why is that, as being a minister, I went around and I talked to all the patriots. I want you to counsel with me on this particular subject. Some gave me rough. I even ran the radio station sermon. One pastor preached about me, brought me the tape, and I had to play it. But I stood up for what I believe was that I wanted prosperity shared in all areas of the community from this. And I think that we can do it. I think there's opportunity. And that's my heart. And I want to publicly say that I'll be the one personally to share all information about contracts. And I want them to know that. I want them to know that. And I'm not playing. I'm not trying to be funny. But I stood up for this personally because I believe that all prosperity should be shared, at least opportunity. And I expect for that information, and I expect for the city to know. If it doesn't happen, then I want to know why, because I will tell it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Saunders.
Mr. Good, thank you for coming in tonight. In my view, I think Caesar made a wise decision when they asked you to be the representative here in our city. We are very candid about how we feel. And I believe that you hear everything that we say. And we really appreciate that. And you've been very, very consistent in your role. Coming here tonight tells me that you want to know. So let me congratulate Caesars and you for being their spokesperson. Thank you.
And if I can pick it back off that, Stephen, we've been sending you lots of messages of persons who want to give contracts. Since Mr. Brown is here, could you briefly share how that process, what those individuals need to do to get in the contract? I think this is the perfect segment for that. Don't you think so?
Absolutely, and thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Mayor. Our firm is collecting information for vendors or from vendors who are interested in contracting opportunities with the Caesars Virginia project. I invite folks to send us an email at info@burnsgould.com. It's BYRNESGOULD.com. They can also just give us a call at 792-2424. We are keeping a master list of persons and parties who are interested in working on the project in some way, shape, or form so that we can provide that to Caesars and to its general contractor. And if I may, just to respond to Councilman Campbell's comments, I think Caesars is absolutely committed to making sure that opportunities are available to anyone and everyone in the community and making sure that they not only meet but exceed the obligations that they've committed to under the development agreement. And we certainly understand and expect that you will hold Caesars accountable. And,
yes, sir.
And if that doesn't happen, if Caesars is not meeting those expectations, that we'll hear from you, and I have no doubt about that.
I think Councilman Campbell want to follow up.
Brother, I appreciate what you're saying, and I do appreciate you representing Caesar most wholeheartedly, and I just want you to feel I'm not casting off against your work at all, but in reference to this process, it's very important to me because I know the struggle of our community, and I think this is a golden opportunity, and I just had to express my heart, and as you know, I've been saying it all along. And
yes, sir.
This is one facet that I hopefully can express that the community will understand. Let's say some Caesar at the beginning said 25%. Then they increased it up to 40%. So you're right in what you're saying, that they're really concerned about this. And I just want to make sure that the community understand that this is a golden opportunity for all areas of our community. And I just want to say thank you.
Again, as was stated, thank you so much for your presentations that you always bring before us. I hope you have a card because I saw Mr. Brown back there trying to write it down. So many times people come to us for the city and say, you know, one of the things that we have to recognize and realize, and I'm sure everybody knows, with the wonderful work that he's doing, we were there, Councilman Mayo and I, and it's many more workers than he have. So if sometimes knowledge is power and being able to get the information that the individuals need, so anything that you could do to help would be greatly appreciated. And as Councilman Saunders stated, thank you so much. I think there's another question from Dr. Miller.
Yeah, one of the things that influenced me, you know, we listened to very many different groups, their presentations for the casino, and it influenced me and also other council members. Caesars came out and pledged to use minority contractors, but also hire minorities. Their casino in Baltimore, I think it's 44% are minorities. And the lady that's the CEO of that is an African-American woman. So that impressed a lot of us. So we expect Caesars to live up to that because I think that got the vote of some of us, or many of us. Thank you.
Madison?
So it was said either 20 or 40%. Which one is it?
So the development agreement requires that Caesars use commercially reasonable efforts without having a specific number that's included in there. But I think if you look at what Caesars has done with other projects, there's an unquestioned commitment to making sure that there's true supplier diversity, that opportunities are shared throughout the community, and not only that opportunities are information about opportunities are shared, but that Caesars goes the extra mile to find and recruit businesses that are representative of the community to give folks a chance to bid on those opportunities and to try to help folks get ahead where they can. So they walk the walk wherever they operate.
Again, on Monday, August the 23rd at 5:30 p.m., 917 West Main Street. Caesars will be here to show some of parts of the design conceptions. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Again,
for the
thank you so
opportunity.
much. Thank you so much for being here. We're still in communications. Anyone else would like to speak on any item that's not on the agenda may come forward at this time. Anyone else would like to speak on any item that's not on the agenda may come forward at this time. Under meeting minutes, council, what's your pleasure? Councilman Buckner?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from the regular council meeting held on July 6, 2021.
Second by Councilman Mayo. Discussion of the motion. If not, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Hood?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Mayo?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Under old business, consideration of authorizing utilization of the city's fiscal year 2022 borrowing capacity to issue general obligations bonds. Council, what's your pleasure? Councilman Vogler.
Yes, Mayor, I move we adopt an ordinance authorizing the issuance of bonds of the city of Danville, Virginia, in the maximum aggregate principal amount of $16 million to finance the acquisition, construction, and equipping of various capital projects. Final adoption.
Second by Councilman Mayo. Discussion of the motion. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Hood?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Mayo?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Consideration of requesting the circuit court to order a special election on the issuance of a general obligation school bonds. Council, what's your pleasure? Councilman Buckner.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Danville, Virginia, requesting the circuit court to order a special election on the issuance of general obligation school bonds in the maximum principal amount of $141 million and authorizing such bonds. Final adoption.
Second by Dr. Miller. Discussion of the motion. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Hood?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Mayo?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye. Under new business, consideration of amending the zoning ordinance to update Article B, parking and loading requirements. I open the public hearing. Anyone who would like to speak on this agenda item may come forward this time. Anyone who would like to speak on this agenda item may come forward at this time. I close the public hearing. Councilman Vogler.
Yes, Mayor, I move we adopt an ordinance repealing and reordaining Chapter 41 entitled Zoning Ordinance of the Code of the City of Danville, Virginia, 1986, as amended, more specifically updating, reorganizing, and clarifying Article 8 entitled Parking and Loading Requirements.
Second by Councilman Buckner. Discussion of the motion.
Yeah, I got a question. Okay.
Councilman
Good.
Whittle and then Councilman Vogler.
Can you tell me where some of it overlapped that you were taking out of it? Just an example, a couple of them.
A few of the types of uses that were overlapping were things like wholesaling versus light industrial uses that are pretty similar in scope. A lot of those kinds of uses were basing their parking requirements off of square footage and not occupancy. So eliminating that and switching the minimum parking space standard requirements to an occupancy rate instead of an arbitrary square footage just basically cuts down the amount of extra parking that we're requiring to put people in.
So I don't have my note in front of me, but it was stacking or something that we wanted to do or did not want to do. I wasn't quite sure what stacking, or excuse me, maybe side-by-side parking.
Right. We had changed some of the stacking requirements and allowing different stacking ratios for drive-up windows. We're trying to work with a lot of our quick service food restaurants in town to facilitate that process.
Shifted to that.
Yes.
Using those more. And this is for all the districts?
Yes, this applies uniformly throughout all the districts.
Virginia State Code, we're working off to clean ours up?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
if we're referencing the Virginia State Code for barrier-free and handicapped accessible parking spaces, then we won't be in conflict because that controls regardless. And we had some different provisions in there that, have changed over time. So then, we're requiring a different ratio or a different number than the state code does.
Thank you.
Councilman Vogler.
Hang tight, Doug. I got a couple comments, but then I did want to ask you a couple things. I'm so happy that we're doing this tonight. This is something myself, and I know Councilman Buckner as well, I've been banging the table for a few years now. In fact, I remember sitting over there where Madison is now. A couple years ago, there was about a 3-month stretch where I think Councilman Buckner and I probably brought this up at every meeting, trying to get some movement on. And Doug has come on board here in the last year and done a fantastic job to streamline what was, and I'm going to ask you again in a minute, how many different classifications we used to have. It was an insane number, and it drove me nuts. That we've cleaned that up. We've made things better. I've long had a goal of trying to make this city as business friendly as possible, and I think what we're voting on tonight is a step in the right direction that will take some of these burdensome requirements that used to be there in the past on developers and business owners and cleaning that up and eliminating some of that and making things simpler and smarter for our business community. So I'm excited about that. Doug, can you remind me, how many different classifications did there used to be for parking requirements?
54.
And how many are there now with this one?
25.
So we less than half of what it used to be. That's a huge improvement, and I won't go in depth. I know Councilman Buckner, like I said, he's been a big advocate for this, so I'm going to let him talk as well. But you know, these large parking lots for years that places were required to build, that they never fill them up, but they were forced to do it, and so this help some of that and make better use of space in our city. So I'm very excited to support this. I want to thank Doug and everybody else who's made this happen. And I think there's going to be a lot more exciting things coming in the future and that Doug has been working on. Again, I'm singing his praises, but very well deserved. So thank you.
Councilman Buckner?
Yeah, Councilman Vogler mentioned we had talked about this for several years, and I believe this was brought up, and correct me if I'm wrong, we did an initiative years ago, 100 days, 100 ways. This is one of the many things that staff has worked and council has worked really hard on, making sure that these things are coming to be and making Danville a much more business-friendly place. And Doug, we really appreciate you and you're taking the time and looking into these things. And I regret to inform you this is not going to be the last one that we're going to have you look into. And we appreciate you for it. Thank you, Mayor.
I got one more question.
Councilman
Do an application towards Craighead Street with something that may have changed in that.
For example, on Craighead Street, the old parking requirements did not have parking standards that would have addressed making sure that handicap accessible spaces were required for developments on Craighead Street, and it would not have allowed our development review process to consider on-street parking. This does. So now we can look at a broader area and consider, you know, rather than just focusing on on-site parking, because it is a concern in a lot of these areas. We can do a better parking count and more of a give and take with potential developers to make sure that they're getting what they need, because if we just don't have a parking requirement, that doesn't necessarily help the developers either. They need parking spaces, and then we can appropriately budget the parking we do have for everybody that needs to use it.
So, for instance, it's not much difference when you slant parallel. You're going to lose one spot, whether you're running them in a row. Would that be any of an opportunity there to get a few more in down through that area too, or is that already in place?
Some of the latest streetscape designs that Public Works is working on do include some angled parking to get more parking in those areas. So shout out to them. And also, I appreciate everything, but I couldn't be doing this without the support of the city administration and a very engaged planning commission, so I appreciate their work on this too.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Mayo?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Hood?
On item B, consideration of amending the zoning ordinance of regulations for satellite dishes. I open the public hearing. Anyone who would like to speak on this agenda item may come forward at this time. Anyone who would like to speak on this agenda item may come forward this time. I close the public hearing. Councilman Vogler.
Yes, Mayor, I move we adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 41 entitled Zoning Ordinance of the Code of the City of Danville, Virginia, 1986, as amended, more specifically updating Article 2 entitled General Regulations, Section P, entitled Accessory Uses and Structures, Item 11, to provide different regulations for satellite dishes less or greater than 3 feet.
Second by Councilman Whittle. Discussion of the motion. Councilman Saunders.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple questions. In reading tonight's package, we talked about this becoming, I guess, a growing issue for our city. I didn't say problem, I say issue for our city. It talks about the different sizes of the dish itself, how far it could be from a fence to a neighbor's property. The growing problem, what is the growing problem?
Well, this originated because we had received some complaints about satellite, as in the smaller satellite dishes, 3 feet or less, that were in front yards. And reviewing our zoning code, we realized that the zoning code prohibited that. But if you drive around, you're going to see many of them in many places in the community. And talking with our legal staff, it was determined that we have certain obligations to allow people to access satellite TV and broadband. So if they are in a location where the only way to get that access is to have a dish in the front yard, we can't have a rule that stops them. So understanding that front yards are the best locations for a lot of these dishes, we felt it best to just make some basic rules about the color and some height limitations and setbacks, so that if the front yard small satellite dishes do need to locate there, they can without needing to go through the burden of seeking a zoning variance.
Okay, and you talked about one rule for satellite dishes of certain dimensions, another one for larger dimensions. When people are putting up the satellite, I think they're looking for the line of whatever signals to come to it. And the growing issue, I'm just wondering, what can we do in the future, or do we have to wait and see? A lot of people are, in fact, going to satellite dish. They are. And this may cause the other competition to lower their price. That'll be nice, but if it doesn't, I can see this becoming a real concern.
Well, I think that as part of our future citywide examinations and comprehensive planning, taking a look at emerging technologies, be it satellite or broadband or 5G, the next technologies that are come out there, and how people access it in the community will be a really a great opportunity to identify those.
Okay, last two questions. So one is that people are dissatisfied because of how it look in their neighborhood. Is that correct, or neighbor?
I don't think it's the issue of that. It's that we had a concerned citizen that knew it was not legal in the zoning code, and they were calling it out.
Okay, and the last question, Mr. Mayor, you talked about color codes, only 3 colors, I believe, you're allowed to have?
Yes, and those are the industry standard colors, and it's pretty common to limit the dishes to those colors.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Buckner.
Yeah, Doug, you've answered a lot of questions for me. It seems like we're just cleaning up an old archaic code. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how does this affect, or will this affect, businesses who use satellite dishes, as in ABC 13 over here on Grove Street, on Monroe or wherever it is? I think it's Grove. The radio stations, Larry, do you guys use satellites out at your place? Yeah, so will this affect businesses, radio stations, television stations?
Potentially it could for any new equipment that would have to be permitted, but everything that's existing now is legally non-conforming.
But could be issued a special use permit?
Yes.
To permit that. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Doug. I really appreciate it.
Councilman Whittle.
So it's a law that you have to allow the homeowner to put it at whatever angle in their yard, on their house, wherever they need to put it to pick up the signal.
Essentially, that's the way it was, that we can't prevent them from accessing that because the transmission spectrum is governed by the FTC. or FCC.
Councilman Saunders.
You use the term legally non-conforming. Is that pretty much the same as, looking for a word here,
Grandfathered, I would think.
grandfathered in? Is that the same thing?
Yes, sir.
Councilman, most of us would say grandfathered in, but those who are who in the technical field will not let you say grandfather. So even I have learned to say legal non-conforming use.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mr. Mayo?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Hood?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye. Under item C, consideration of vacating 2 unused city easements in Pittsylvania County. I open the public hearing. Anyone who would like to speak on this agenda item may come forward this time. Anyone who would like to speak on this agenda item may come forward this time. I close the public hearing. Councilman Buckner.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve a resolution authorizing the abandonment of 2 city easement access property. I'm sorry, let me start over again. I'd like to propose that we approve a resolution authorizing the abandonment of 2 unused city easements across property in Pittsylvania County in order to facilitate the development of a solar energy installations upon the same property.
Second by Councilman Whittle. Discussion of the motion. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Hood?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Mayo?
Aye.
On item D, consideration of reimbursing expenditures with proceeds of a borrowing. Council, what's your pleasure? Councilman Hood.
Yes, I move to adopt consideration of amending the fiscal year 2022 budget appropriation ordinance for additional state aviation funding.
Now do item D for me.
Oh, I'm sorry, D. I move to adopt resolution of official intent to reimburse expenditures with proceeds of a borrowing.
Second by Councilman Buckner. Is there discussion of the motion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Question, Mayor.
Sure.
I just must have missed this on the agenda. Can someone bring me up to speed on it?
Let's,
Sure, anybody can step in, it's okay.
I'll ask our finance director to come up and answer that question. I'll try, and I might do it all right, but it best come from him.
We have a vote now.
Good evening. As customary, if we plan to issue bonds in the course of the fiscal year for capital projects, of course, it takes us several months to get to the point of actually issuing those bonds. And so what this resolution does is allow us to go back to July 1st, and any money that we have spent on those capital projects, we can replace those funds with the borrowing. So we can go ahead and start those capital projects now, and once we have the borrowing proceeds, we can reimburse ourselves. And that's what that resolution does.
I've asked that before, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
so Mr. Hood made the motion, and is there a second? Who seconded? Mr. Buckner seconded. So let's go back and call the roll again, please. Before you do that, is there any more discussion of the motion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Hood?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Mayo?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Under item E, consideration of amending the fiscal year 2022 budget appropriation ordinance for additional state aviation funding. Council, what's your pleasure? Councilman Vogler.
Yes, Mayor, I move we adopt an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2022 budget appropriation ordinance to provide for additional state aviation funding for the purpose of completing design services to develop an aircraft, parking ramp, and automobile parking lot for future corporate hangar development in the amount of $71,116 plus local share in the amount of $17,779 to be provided by a transfer from the support of general funds and appropriating same first reading.
Second by Councilman Whittle. Under item F, consideration of amending the fiscal year 2022 budget appropriation ordinance in the amounts of $200,000 for the purchase of 53.45 acres at Anglers Park. Council, what's your pleasure? Vice Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to propose an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2022 budget appropriation ordinance to provide for an award from the Virginia Outdoors Foundation in the amount of $200,000 for the purchase and development of 53.45 acres at Anglers Park and appropriation of same. First reading.
Second by Councilman Buckner. First reading. Under item G, consideration of amending the fiscal year 2022 budget appropriation ordinance for economic development incentives in the amount of $1,025,000. Council, what's your pleasure? Councilman Buckner.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2022 budget appropriation ordinance for one Commonwealth Opportunity Fund grant from the Virginia Economic Development Partnership in the amount of $135,000, two Tobacco Region Opportunity Fund grants from the Virginia Tobacco Region Revitalization Commission in the amounts of $350,000 and $270,000, and one for the total from the Tobacco Region Opportunity Fund loan from the Virginia Tobacco Region Revitalization Commission in the amount of $270,000 for a total of $1,025,000 as economic development incentives for taxable capital investments, job creation in the Commonwealth of Virginia, first reading.
Second by Councilman Mayo. Under Communication, City Manager.
I have nothing this evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Deputy City Manager. Thank you so much for your presentation for Norma this evening, or Deputy City Manager. City Attorney.
Nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. City Clerk.
Thanks, sir.
You call the roll, please.
Mr. Vogler?
Yeah, National Night Out was fun as always. We had council members, of course, riding along, and I'm sure Dr. Miller's going to talk about it at length, so I'll leave it for him. But I'll just say to the school board, and more, I should say, the school system, because it was more of them rather than the school board. We'll be prepared next year for our rematch over at Cardinal Village, and we'll have something special planned. But we all had a great time, and it was wonderful to interact with all the citizens, and look forward to it again next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Whittle?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah, first of all, as it's going to be said a million times tonight, National Night Out, what a blast. Danville always shows up and shows out for that. We had an amazing time. I had a great time along with Councilman Hood and Mr. Mayo encouraging the Vice Mayor and Councilman Vogler to make a fool of themselves. It was a spectacular event. I was heartbroken and saddened by the news of Norma's passing. Norma, as many of you know, you guys appointed me many years ago to the Fair Housing Board, and I learned so much that it honestly made me want to change my career to be in the real estate and to be able to help people and to be able to work with people. And Norma spearheaded that. She's such a shining light in this city, and she will be missed. And we know that she's with us every day in the decisions that we make for this city. The decisions that she made for this city will outlast us all. She's changed this city for generations. She's an amazing woman, and she will certainly be missed by me and many others. On a lighter note, I would like to recognize and congratulate Mrs. Mildred Richardson in the crowd tonight. I think she was appointed or promoted to assistant principal of our virtual academy with the Danville school system. Congratulations, well deserved. Many of you know Mildred keeps a few of, I'll say one of our council members straight when it comes time for, yes it is, when it comes time for re-election. She is the brains behind it. So thank you, Mayor, I appreciate my time.
Thank you.
Reverend Campbell?
I'm glad to hear the announcement, well deserved. I'm going to make it very short. Earl, I really honor you tonight. That was a presentation that you made on Norma. And it was very touching, not only for me, but for my family, and also for Tommy and that group that I was able to get to know her. I have found out in life that there are certain people that you never see them on TV, nor do you hear them on the radio, but they are the bones of strength behind people who are before TV and the radio. And Norma was one of those types, and she stood strong and tall behind the scene to show what we stand for, efficiency in our administration. Being on council and being a policymaker, we need people like Norma to carry the city to the next level. And we honor her, not only, but there are many who have gone on to the other side to make a difference in the community. But Norma right now, it's her time for honor and praise. And I know a lot of people are hurting, and I'm glad to see what the city manager and others are doing to show the love of one who had dedicated herself to this community. And I just want to thank everybody And thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to touch base a little bit on Ms. Brower as well. In 2015, she sent me a personal message that told me to keep fighting a good fight. And she sent me that message before I had the opportunity to actually meet her in person. And by her doing so, it opened my mind and gave me the encouragement to continue to push forward as she spoke up for me in different areas and allowed me to come into rooms, invited me into rooms that I may not would have figured I may be even able to be into, to be honest with you. And National Night Out, I enjoyed that so much, to be out in our community and see the buy-in that everybody had throughout the community, and just riding on the trolley with the team and city officials. And I know that I speak for everybody when I say we really did feel her presence and her work throughout this whole city. And to see the city come together and officials and staff and everybody come together to put that National Night Out together and people to move on through that in her honor, I thought was really amazing. It just showed the strength of our city and how we're continuously moving forward. And on another note, I just want to say how the community continues to come together tomorrow at the ARC Family Life Center. It's on 427 East Thomas Street. They're doing a clothes drive for all students. And the last 2 days, they've been coming to 319 Lynn Street, and they've been dropping off so many clothes that's in style. So it's not a fact of you may just be bringing hand-me-downs. They're bringing items with tags and everything. And to see the community come together that strong really speaks volumes, because they have everything from sweaters to hoodies to winter coats to shirts, shorts, jewelry, tennis shoes, sandals, little girl shoes from all ages. And they have literally broke down in different sections from every grade and age. They separated boy and girl. So to see so many people just pulling up and dropping things off, it just goes to show that they're invested in our city and our community when it's time to come together and help. So I just want to give a special announcement, a special shout out again to everybody. It's tomorrow at the ARC Family Life Center, 427 East Thomas Street, from 5:30 to 6:30. For all the clothes that they have, they're going to have to redo it again because it's a short amount of time for what they have, but it's some really nice things that they're giving out. So again, just to see the city come together for back to school means a lot.
And school starts on Monday, and all of the items are free?
Everything.
Everything's free.
And book bags. They got book bags.
They got book bags too. Give that address again.
It's 427 East Thomas Street tomorrow from 5:30 to 6:30.
Good.
Mayo?
Thank you. Just piggybacking off of what you've just heard from so many, and Mildred, congratulations on your new role. But speaking on Norma Brower, the words is just so much you can say, but one thing that sticks out to me is the fact that she persevered for whatever she was dealing with and going through. My mind runs when she never complained, she never spoke about it, but when you saw her, she looked like a woman that had it all. And I look over at my friend Tommy. Tommy, I know what you're going through. I know how you're feeling. We're with you, man. We love you. We know how you and Norma were so close. And I know it's dear in your heart. And Larry, I know your daughter the same way. It was like a family, and it is like a family. And I saw even in this building how it hit the whole staff, and she will never be forgotten but for the works that she's done. So looking at National Night Out, and as we went around the city paying reference to Norma, that meant a lot, and I really appreciate what we done, Mayor. Even though we went to Cardinal Village and lost the wobble dance, Dr. Miller, we're going to have to practice, man, because I can't get it, and I know you don't have it. So, but just to see that people, I thought that we carried that on for Norma. And I know that it'll continue to grow, and we have to look at her in reference to that, because what I hear, she did so much to put it together and making sure that it carried through. So just wanted to give everybody the congratulations, and it was a job well done. And SPN, Jasmine, let them know that It was a wonderful event. Mayor and I attended the grand opening. They're doing wonderful things. I have to give Vincent his kudos and his staff. They are really bringing an opportunity for so many, and you can see them coming and learning that art. I've never seen that type of work being done, and knowing that I'm at DCC and they holding the classes there, we have taken on them. I see good things that are happening in that, so keep going and keep doing what you're doing. And Larry, thank you for what you said in reference to Caesars. Mr. Gould, he's doing a great job. Thank you for all the reports that you give us. Let's continue to grow with that, and we're looking forward to that day when it comes. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor Miller?
Yeah, on August 7th, 1984, the first National Night Out was held. At that time, it was just turn on your lights, your porch lights, and acknowledge the neighborhoods. Now, it has grown to 300,000 people in 15,000 communities that celebrate National Night Out on Tuesday night, this last Tuesday night. It was a great event. We had a lot of fun. We recognized that it was good to see, the council there, and we went around from different communities. I had one admission. Tommy Bennett went the whole way with us, and not one time in that night did I recognize him, and I apologize. But he was right with us the whole time. I dispute the fact that we lost the wobble. We had two people, Captain Vogler, the half of the dance team, and myself, and we challenged the school board, but they showed up they brought 25 other people.
45.
It wasn't us against the school board members, and we still beat them. They quit dancing before we did. They gave up and left the field of battle. But we had a lot of fun. Before the meeting tonight, one of our council members asked me how we were doing with the COVID-19 variant, and I said it's kicking our butt. Things have changed. We're now back in double figures in the hospital. Hospitalizations, cases are up fourfold. It's just running rampant. We're getting back to levels in March. 90% of these are non-vaccinated patients. Almost 99% of those getting the hospital are non-vaccinated patients. And the other thing we're seeing now is the long hauler syndrome. This is people who had COVID last year, 6 months ago, who still are symptomatic. You don't get over it. If you ask somebody who's had COVID, most of them will tell you, 80% will tell you, I still don't feel right. They've got headaches, they've got respiratory issues, they've got chest pain, hair loss. Some people lost their teeth, blood clots in the heart and lungs. It doesn't quit bothering you. It affects you for months afterwards. What's the best way not to get long hauler syndrome? Take the vaccine and don't get COVID in the first place. And the other thing we found, I had two patients who didn't have sense of smell or taste. They lost it months ago. They got the vaccine, and all that came back. So the vaccine is helping some people mount an antibody response and get rid of the COVID that's still in their bodies. A double reason to get the vaccine. This week, I was proud, or the last 2 days, I've been proud that I've convinced 3 people in the medical group, after months of trying to persuade them to take the vaccine, they finally did. And those 3 people produced 5 more people. So the point is, it's like a domino. If you can convince your friends or your colleagues and people up here, we have position, but that helps. But just your friends, to convince them to take the vaccine, they'll turn around and talk to somebody else. So that's, again, the only way we're going to get out of this is get everybody vaccinated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Regarding the dance contest, let me just say that for those who may not know, Councilman Barry Mayo is a former school teacher. He's also a former basketball coach. He's also a trainer. So to everyone who wants to win next year, your leader is Councilman Barry Mayo.
I can't dance.
He walked out on us.
I strongly disagree with that statement.
Okay. Councilman Saunders, you and I connected. Go watch the video. and come back.
I could do the cabbage patch.
Is he the one that quit early? Okay, Mr. Mayor, I think I saw Sergeant Ferguson standing out there. Could he come inside for a moment, please?
Very good.
Sergeant Ferguson?
My thoughts. Sergeant Ferguson, please come in. Very good.
In the hallway, I believe. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to talk about the community and engagement and all the good things that are happening in our city. And I believe Sergeant Ferguson has been assigned a community engagement task, and he's doing it very, very well. Bikes on Main, the first time that's ever happened in our city. I mean, the first time. And I hope it becomes something that will be ongoing. The National Night Out, well coordinated. And as a community engagement coordinator, it's not an 8-to-5 job. I mean, you're on call pretty much all the time. And I just want to say to Sergeant Ferguson and your staff and all the officers, thank you so much for what you do. And you do it very, very well. Thank you. Also, regarding the Councilman Campbell's comment about Norma Breyer. Norma's a great lady. I would call her a great ambassador, for our city. Always upbeat, always energetic, always positive. Just really, really missed. And I just want to say to Deputy City Manager Reynolds and to Vice Mayor Miller, thank you all for your recognition and your special prayer. And Mr. Mayor, thank you for the idea of all of us dressing the same way uniformly in behalf and in memory of Norma. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Larry said earlier, there are some people who don't get an opportunity, or you may not see them on TV, you may not see them on radio. And oftentimes, before I come to council, I do a lot of studying. But Mildred, stand up for a second, please. Stand up. She does a lot of stuff in our community, but she's one of those persons that Larry was talking about that loves to be behind the scenes. Stand up. I didn't say sit down. Stand up. But I just want to say here tonight, thank you so much for all that you've done and all that you do, not just for me, but for the entire community. She's one of those persons that's behind the scene. You will not see her in front. She will not. She refused. And congratulations on your promotion tonight. Please give her a hand. I had wrote down Officer Ferguson. I had it wrote down because Councilman Saunders hit it right on the head. You are doing it, you and your team. Oftentimes, and this is leading right into my segue, oftentimes you hear council members all the time commending the staff. And I'm so glad we do, because that leads me into my segue in regards to Norma. When the family called, Tommy called, and the family called, and I arrived at the hospital on that Thursday. Tommy and they were there. And it was hard. It was really tough. And the thing that came to my mind, Ken and Earl, was I was so thankful, just like I just did with Mildred. I was so thankful that many of us have been able to say to the city staff, thank you. I think Michael was here last time and others from the city staff. When I said, city staff, stand up. We want to tell you just how much we appreciate all you're doing. It doesn't hurt to give people their flowers while they're living. We gave Norma her flowers. And that's the thing that's so exciting about it. If you ever went out to eat with us, Madison sees us sometimes, but it's Barry and Norma and Tommy. If you want to see the funniest thing, it was always so funny. Norma would tell me, whisper to me, Tommy's not eating his food. Something must be wrong. Tommy would tell me, something must be wrong with Norma. Norma would call me and said, have you checked on Tommy today? Tommy would call me and say, have you checked on Norma today? I would say, has anybody checked on me today? Norma actually was behind the rolls of these shirts. She would make sure every National Night Out, not only National Night Out, she would make sure that council had shirts. And I just want to thank the city manager and the city staff, city team, because they are working behind the scenes to make things happen in Jersey. Our funeral is going to be in Jersey Monday or Tuesday, Tommy? Monday? The funeral is going to be in Jersey. Some of us are going to New Jersey on Monday. Some of us are going to have a special ceremony here for her as well. So to all of the city staff, we sincerely appreciate everything that you all do. You hear us say, and I got this from Councilman Saunders when he was mayor, he would oftentimes talk about the 1,000+ city employees and all of the wonderful work you do. You heard us talk about Officer Ferguson and all of our police, all of our city staff. We sincerely appreciate all. It's a tough job, and we appreciate it. And city manager and deputy city manager and I were on the phone this afternoon, and sometimes trying to get them to laugh is like pulling teeth. And they won't laugh, but I made them laugh because one of the subjects we was talking about today, they couldn't help but to laugh, Councilman Saunders. But I just want to say thank you so much. And to council, thank you for all that you do. It's a pleasure working with council. I'm just going to close with this wobble, because I got some music playing. The wobble is going to be playing in just a minute, because I saw Councilman Mayo and Dr. Miller. We need you to give him, in work session tonight, we're going to play the wobble, and we want you to help Councilman Mayo do the wobble, because I don't know what that was. But again, to all the citizens in our city, thank you so much for how you support our city. Hope you all have a very safe weekend. Those of you who are traveling to Jersey with us on next week, please be safe. And on that note, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.